2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Happy 2020 boo. Welcome, C3 family, I guess, at this point. I think at this point, I feel like we're in a 12-step program. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. Tonight's show is 2020 boo. Happy New Year, folks. This will probably be, well, we'll squeeze in some more content throughout the week, but this is the last flagship episode of 2021. So Happy New Year to listeners of the C3 Panthers Podcast. The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Call us up. Tell us what you think about cool things to talk about. Robby Anderson and fake fans. Will the Carolina Panthers play even with all this COVID? And Rhule's 1,000% process is working. And I tell you one thing, 1,000%. Cody Lashney will be my co-host on Tuesday nights in 2020 boo for the C3 Panthers Podcast. How you doing, Cody?
That's definitely more certain than whatever Matt Rhule's system for the Carolina Panthers is. If Matt Rhule's system is 1,000%, me being here on this podcast, it's over 10,000%, Tony Dunn. Even though the Panthers' hopes have been eliminated, we're no longer in playoff contention. The C3 Podcast doesn't give a damn. We're here through it all, man. We have a ton of news. We're going to talk about Robby Anderson, giving some talk back to the fans. Once again, we're going to be talking about Matt Rhule's job security. But no matter what, we're going to do it with the best Panther fans in all of YouTube, Tony. You already know them and love them. We got our man Drew, Alex Stark, ATX19, Craig Cartner, The Real Zero Chill, Joey the Blind Panther Esquivel, Matt Knows Nothing, T. Stokes, Zach Rhodes, Mossy Man 789 News, Tony Dunn, and nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
Let's roll. CK in the house. How you doing, my man?
Oh, it's the end of a really depressing year, and it's one of those times when you're like, when you have a bad year, you can kind of go into the next year with two different frames of mind. One of which is this is such a bad situation and it's never going to get better. And then it's really hard to have any positives with how you feel about the way that the, next year is going to go. Or you can look at it as, well, finally that fucking year is over. Let's start a new year and actually come into it strong and actually do some things that's going to make my life better. And that's what I think we all need to do here as Panthers fans, as in our lives, is just look forward. And instead of looking back, and hopefully, we can look forward to the Panthers being good again at some point in their lives.
It does seem like the Panthers have kind of mirrored the COVID crisis. As each year we're saying 2020 boo. F 2020. My wife has a ornament that she bought last year that was just like, and it's really a nice looking animal, but if you really look at it, it says all this crappy stuff about 2020. And now it's like, good God, 2020 boo. Carolina Panthers. How many years in a row is this? 18, 19, 20, 21, four losing in a row. So tough year, get rid of it. And on a kind of a sad note, or not kind of a sad note, on the damper of football, God bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you. John Madden passed away today, 85 years old. A legend of NFL football in the game. Hall of Fame coach, Hall of Fame commentator. I think probably revolutionized what personality and teaching can do in color commentary and pro sports, right? Is that, is a guy who's relatable, a guy who has enthusiasm and excitement and passion for a game, a guy that kind of like maybe what I see Tony Romo kind of emblematic of these days, is someone who is likable, represents the sport well, and all of those things. Well, he passed away at 85. And to be honest, surprising part of this is I thought he was older than 85. He felt like he was 85 in some of those final years. He was calling games at least.
Yeah, I remember being young watching him and seeing him, and clearly he's an old man. He was an older man then when I was growing up.
He looked old probably when he was like 30, though.
He's like the Morgan Freeman of football. But listen, how about this? John Madden might be the most influential person in the history of football. I mean, after Vince Lombardi, think of it this way. Think about my generation of kids. I was born in 1990. Madden was pivotal and still is pivotal to so many fans of football. And honestly, John Madden was the type of person who didn't just love football. He loved to explain football to people. He loved to explain the X's and O's and really get people involved with the intricacies. And because of the Madden video game, fans from all over America, all over the world, they got to go and mess with the playbooks and look at, different routes and all these different things. And it's all because John Madden and his legacy connected to not only football, but the video game world as well. So, yeah, it's a sad day. This is a big loss for the entire sport.
What's another thing that kind of, I will date this podcast. Is I don't even think he was calling games when we started this podcast still. That would have been 2012. But for the kind of things you think of John Madden, and you think of Madden the football game, like you said. Like, it's synonymous. You just call it Madden. That's it. It's like, and everybody knows what you're talking about, and everybody plays it. In fact, even pro football players play it.
That last name will forever be synonymous with football.
Other things, and again, I'll date the myself in this process, is that the thing that I least remember him for is coaching. Because it was it was right. Those Raiders teams were in the 70s, I believe, or 80s.
Before your time.
Yeah,
it's hard to put a like, for me, I recognize, obviously, yes, Madden is a big part of, I think, all of our childhoods, coming up. But I think it's also, I do remember him a lot from the Monday Night Football games, and that is who I remember John Madden as, is the Monday night guy who was able to explain what was going on the field very well, who was able to kind of give you hope that these guys that he was saying are going to be really good players were going to actually cut. When he said that, it was going to be a possibility that guy was going to be a superstar. And you saw it with a lot of those documentaries with All Madden, when he was talking about the same thing with Peyton and Troy Aikman. And those are easy, low-hanging fruit because those were high draft picks who had a lot of promise. But the dude was able to see things that, I think we all hope to be able to see when we watch football, and we don't always have the same eyes as he does. But it's definitely a loss in the football. Like, it's so weird, and I thought it was so weird I don't know about you guys, but before this all Madden thing even got announced, I was literally thinking, where the hell is John Madden at? I haven't seen him in it feels like almost a decade. It
I
felt like
thought that too.
And then they announced this all Madden thing, and now this happens. It's just like, did they know? Was he sick and that's what it was? I mean, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, his documentary just came out. A new documentary just came out this past week, I think, on him. And other things to think about, or I think of, and I know these are trivial or nominal, but the turducken, right, is that John Madden is the reason the turducken is popular in American culture. He invented he always had the turducken on Thanksgiving.
Is that really? I know he was connected to it, but did it really get?
I'm pretty sure that he would be. I would believe so. I would bet. How about this? Is that John Madden has done more for turducken culture in America than anyone else. That's one thing.
What a pioneer, man! A legend.
And he didn't like to fly.
He didn't what?
Always drove in the bus. He was in Monday night. Every time he drove around the country.
Yeah, he had an RV and a driver.
Mm-hmm.
So when he would have to go across country, he would do it in the RV?
Yeah.
Dude, that's bananas.
He could not fly. I mean, he didn't like to fly. And so he was plowing American roads. He was the man of the people, dude.
I believe it, man.
Shout out to John Madden. Man, look, pop culture, living the dream, driving across country for the last 25 years. It was wild.
Well, also he was the coach that made the Raiders what they were. Like Matt Knows Nothing says, it was around that time when the black hole was built.
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
they won the Super Bowl one or two.
Yeah. And as the Panthers are dealing with their own coaching conundrums, we can only hope that we come across a culture builder like John Madden sometime in the Panthers' lifetime. So shout out to John Madden, man.
We already have our culture builder, Bob the Builder, aka Rhule, and his 1000%.
He just needs another 5 years, I guess.
Yeah, I mean
5. Yeah, that's minimum. Yeah,
no problem.
Welcome 2020 Boo, folks. Happy 2020 Boo. You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast. The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Call us up and tell us, are you a fake fan or not? Let's jump into that.
Yep.
This is let's set the stage a little bit. Is that for the last few weeks, the Panthers have been running a 2-quarterback system in Carolina, composed of Cam Newton and PJ Walker. As a result of a Sam Darnold injury that sent him to IR, he was eligible to return, or I guess cleared for return, practice for a day, and all of a sudden back in the Carolina Blue. And then Matt Rhule, who is adamantly said he does not like the 2-quarterback system, then proceeds to say, let's run the 2-quarterback system again with Cam Newton and Sam Darnold, because Sam Darnold deserves an opportunity to show the NFL what he is and what he can be. And then they trotted out Sam Darnold to a litany of boos. Actually, it wasn't even that booish. It was less than booish. There was some boos, but
it was noticeable on TV with a crowd that wasn't necessarily that impressive either. It's not like there was
a lot of Buck fans.
A lot of Buck fans. So the Panther fans who were there, they were loud in their distaste.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, is that now there is, I guess, what happened? Tell me what happened. Robby Anderson.
Yeah,
so Robby Anderson deal with this?
Robby Anderson did a press conference, and by the way, from his own apartment, I mean, you can literally see the skyline outside of his window behind him. But I'm of two different mindsets with this. We're going to get into it fully, but basically Robby Anderson was asked about the litany of boos that Sam Darnold was met with when he entered the field. So I'm going to play the clip, and then we're going to discuss it, because I feel, weirdly enough, two different ways about this. So let's play it and we'll react.
Today, if you a fan, like a real fan, you gonna
You have
love
sound?
like
I could
just
hear it.
who you're a fan of through their ups and their downs, regardless. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. Like, that's just what it is. That's what a true fan is. You might be a little disappointed, but if you a true fan and you talk down on somebody that's like, you know what I'm saying? Like a true fan, you believe in your team to the fullest. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, one thing I didn't like, and it's just what it is, like, Sam came on the field and they booed him. Like, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's doing all he can and has done all he can. He obviously made mistakes, and we all do. But when he was doing good, 2 plays later, he'd make a big play. They cheering for him. Like, that's not real fans. You know what I'm saying? And for the culture that we building, we don't want no fake fans. We want diehard, loyal fans that's gonna ride or die for us. Simple as that.
So that was Robby Anderson's take on Sam Darnold being booed. And Tony, I'm of two different mindsets, right? So look, if we were playing football and I was out there and I went on the field and I just got booed and everybody was, clowning on me, and you guys were my teammates, I would like that you went up in the media and went to bat for your teammate, because at the end of the day, that's what a teammate is supposed to do, man. You don't throw people under the bus. This is why we've been so upset at Matt Rhule this year and Teddy Bridgewater the year before. It doesn't show good leadership, and it doesn't, ingratiate you to your football team, right? So that I completely understand. And from a friend perspective, that's what you would want him to do, right? But then on the other end, dude, we're allowed to fucking boo if we want to. And as long as players are getting paid millions of dollars to go out there and underperform in front of the home crowd fans, we're allowed to make our displeasure and our distaste known however we want, whenever we want. Keep in mind that this is a market which is a small market. We're known as the wine and cheese fans. We don't have that history of being like the Philadelphia Eagles or the Chiefs or whatever any of the bigger fan bases are, right? So we're allowed to, one, make our displeasures known at the quarterback system that we have in place, a 2-quarterback system, which has never been successful anywhere else in the NFL. But then the fact that we're taking Cam Newton off the field for Sam Darnold, who was brought here by Matt Rhule. And Matt Rhule has been the person who has orchestrated the Panthers being a worse football team this year than we were last year. So from that standpoint alone, it's like Robby has to know he's fighting a losing battle. Fans are going to boo whoever they want to, and because they're paying tickets of their hard-earned money to come and watch the Panthers, you don't get a say-so and tell them that they're right or wrong. And then to even determine who is real fans or fake fans, this is just a bad answer from Robby Anderson.
There are, a lot of layers to peel back on this discussion. In just a moment, he can bring together so many things to talk about. When you left off, you said the word fake fans, and that's the bad part of the comment here. Or the unnecessary, out of touch. There could be a lot of different ways of describing it. And like, am I going to hold this against Robby Anderson? No, I'm not going to hold it against him. But what I will say is this, is that like calling anybody a fake fan right now who's cheering for the Carolina Panthers, booing or not, is kind of funny in itself, because these are the realest of fans at this moment out there dealing with this. The idea too is like, when you call in to someone and like being a fake fan, it's like sort of a personal attack in a way. And I know that sounds crazy. It's like, stop crying and whining, Tony. And you're right. I mean, I'm not like mad about it, but it is. It's like this. It's like it kind of, it goes directly after your authenticity. And as someone who is in a spectator sport, so that's funny. It brings in that kind of mindset. there's some irony too with Robby Anderson screaming at Sam Darnold on the sideline. You do like to see that Robby Anderson is fighting for his team, right? And his teammates, right? You like that. But calling into question or even calling out fans at this point is just unnecessary. Like, you just got to cut the comment off there. He's probably sick and tired of hearing fans too open his DMs or his timeline telling him he can't catch and things like this.
Yep.
But I think the one thing that really just kind of strikes me about this moment is that I think if the fans, first of all, aren't booing a person, I don't feel like.
Right.
This is less directed at Sam Darnold than the symbolic moment of rotating Cam Newton out for Sam Darnold. And it would almost be like this. If you want real ass fans, imagine if they didn't boo at this moment for when Cam could be Cam's last game, could be, it's kind of the best player in team history. If they didn't boo this decision, they would be the least fans of all time. Then that means they haven't been paying attention to the organization for the last 10 years or
and
over
by the
a
way,
decade.
Didn't Matt Rhule himself said he would prefer passion instead of apathy?
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally what he was talking about. And listen, I have to pinpoint some of the hypocrisy too. These are the kinds of players that hit the Monday morning quarterback. The average fan like us who knows everything with 20/20 vision, and we should have done this, or this player should have done that. Kind of disregarding how hard it is to play football. But now when the shoe is on the other foot, it's like, okay, so now you get to be paid millions of dollars and tell us how we're supposed to be fans. Like, dude, we've been fans of the Carolina Panthers long before you were on this football team, and we're going to be fans of the Panthers long after you've gone from this football team. So it's like, it's just really hypocritical, and I understand him going to bat for his friends and teammates, but at the end of the day, man, you just look ridiculous.
I don't know if he's built enough credibility with us yet.
No.
He lost a lot of credibility. Yeah. Like, here's the thing is, when Robby Anderson first got signed, I had reservations because I remember the only memory I had of Robby Anderson prior to him becoming a Panther was him on the Jets when he was facing the Carolina Panthers and we were destroying them. Like, and then what he do? He gets a touchdown and he proceeds to go to the camera, celebrate by himself, telling people to vote him to the Pro Bowl, right? And at that moment in time, like, I realized that was the type of person that he was. It was a very me type of a mindset. And then, he came to the Panthers and, we're giving him the benefit of the doubt. And he started to kind of feel like he was a team player. He wasn't always that rah-rah diva type, wide receiver. And then he came out and he was speaking on behalf of Cam Newton, even prior to the game, talking about how, he gets blamed for so much when it's not even his fault. And then you see him in the game down 30, getting a first down, and he's like, no time left on the clock. And he's just like doing his little celebration on the sideline. Like, and it just took me back to that time when he was on the Jets and he was just telling people to vote him to the Pro Bowl in the midst of a horrible season for their team, in the midst of a horrible scenario. And it just like, it just made me remember a lot of that stuff. So his press conferences are one thing, like, and then what he does in the game is another. And that's where I'm right there with you, Cody. I'm kind of torn between the two. Like, do I agree with booing a player? No. Do I agree that they were not booing Sam Darnold? They were booing the circumstances and Matt Rhule. I think Matt Rhule was more. Yeah. I think Matt Rhule was at the very height of that boo. I think that was who was being blamed.
And the decision too, right?
Right.
This is the thing, is he goes on and references this. Robby Anderson in that clip just says 2 plays later, they're cheering for what was like a cool throw. Looked like Sam Darnold was about to fold right in that pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Leaks out a little bit and does that off-platform throw that really it's that physical skill set that makes people enamored with the shiny object that is Sam Darnold in those physical tools, and that the fact that the crowd erupted into, and you could hear that cheer as well when it goes to Shi Smith. I think in some ways I can see what he's saying is that, like, hey, you're just booing us right now, and now you all want to be, but something good happens, and now you're cheering. But on the other hand, I think if you really take a step back and look at what this decision means, where we're at with Matt Rhule, where the poor decision surrounding the quarterback position, and then Cam Newton being brought back to be sort of a whipping boy of that, in a way, a fall guy, patsy almost, is that the fact that they're cheering 2 plays later, I think does kind of show that it is about what that moment symbolized, not directed significantly at Sam Darnold. I would say it's got to be, like you said, Matt Rhule, the decision and the symbolism behind Cam Newton, his last game, arguably at Bank of America, and then Sam Darnold, probably the lowest on that totem pole of boo.
Yeah. And by the way, I like this comment too. Fake fan or not, we can boo if we fucking want to. If that's the only way to show that we're unhappy, then we're going to fucking boo with their trash ass. And like, that's the point. If you paid the ticket to go and watch the Panthers absolutely get destroyed at home, all we've done this season is look absolutely terrible on our own home field. At home, where we're supposed to have a home field advantage, where David Tepper was keep pounding off of the sign and off of the PA system because he wanted fans to be able to do it on their own accord. So you like it when Panther fans do things that you like on their own accord, but not when they come here and they boo the underwhelming football team that everyone's having to watch week in and week out, man. It's depressing. And, no one has to go and boo a player if that's not your style. If that's not your style, fine. But you don't get to tell a stadium of people that they can't, make known their distaste for this Carolina Panthers team. It's absurd. And I know he was sticking up for his man, but overall, it's just a bad answer, man. It's a bad answer.
Especially in the midst of what the game, how his performance was and what he did on the sidelines. Like, I feel like that added to that entire equation, made it even worse, in my opinion. Like, it's just, at this point in time, I think the Robby Anderson experiment is over and it's ready to go ahead and get him, move him out of the Carolinas as well. I'm not like I said, he's been lackluster at best. And even when he's gotten the ball in his hands, he's dropped it. Robby Anderson isn't necessarily on my list of people that I'd like to see in a Carolina Panthers uniform long term.
Let's go on to the next topic of discussion for tonight, and that is COVID ravaging the NFL. Omicron variant is out there, I guess, and without delving too much into the 2 years of COVID that we have experienced and all of that, but I can't remember a time in the 2 years that we've been covering this team where this many names have been on the COVID list for not only our team, but the entire NFL.
Yeah.
So much that they're changing the rules, right? And you know what? I'm not even going to be critical of them at changing rules. I have been. I do think a lot of sports and different things have virtue signaled, as Cody likes to say, or, they've done this for optics, a lot of this stuff. I'm not even going to be critical about the NFL dropping it from 10-day quarantine to 5-day quarantine. I'm going to say this is, tell me what the science said. That's what everybody all told us before is, so whatever the science says, I'm all right with. But it's everywhere, dude. And my biggest question I have today, who is it that we have no centers right now?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, we have none. Sam Tecklenburg is on the COVID-19 list. That is official. So we are officially down to no centers.
Brian Burns is on the list.
Brian Burns is on the list. Shaq Thompson is on the list. Brandon Zylstra is on the list.
And then if you look at the New Orleans Saints, they have like 20 people on their list too. They're down to like did you guys hear that they reached out to Phillip Rivers and to Drew Brees to be their quarterback?
The Saints?
For a game.
Yeah, I heard that about Drew Brees. I didn't hear it for Rivers.
So if I had one question I could have answered for tonight's show, like the insight, are all of these people, not all of them, because I know some of them are going to be sick, some of them are going to be asymptomatic. Is this a vast majority of people that are sick and then getting popped for the test, or getting popped for the COVID test, and now it becomes protocol time?
Listen, man, I
want to know that. Like, I just want to know are these people feeling bad? Because I've never seen so many names up there. I'm worried.
Well, I'm telling you, man, most of the players that are opting out right now, they were players that had been vaccinated, had received their boosters, and they're still coming up with, with these positive tests. And they're also, many of them are asymptomatic. And I guarantee you, the foresight of this is that, well, once we get into the playoffs, we want to be able to give teams enough time to be full strength and not have your franchise quarterback, not be able to make a big time playoff game. By the way, this is not conspiracy what I'm about to say. It's legitimately the truth. The Delta CEO asked the CDC to shorten recommended COVID quarantine times. The 10-day isolation for those who are fully vaccinated may significantly impact our workforce operations. People have posted the emails about it. And then shortly after, the CDC has now made their official guidelines, man. So it's like, no, you don't really have to trust the science. You have to trust the big business that dictates what the rules actually are.
It was a little tongue-in-cheek.
Stay woke, my friends. But dude, it's crazy, man.
All right, so when it comes to the Carolina Panthers, though, we are down to no centers. Brian Burns, Shaq Thompson, really a decimated team going against a decimated New Orleans Saints team. Yes. Look at this. This is all the Saints. If this is just from CBS Sports.com COVID tracker. Here are the names for the Saints. Now, I don't know the status of these players, because we have, for instance, Christian McCaffrey is in COVID protocol and he's not even playing. Right. So here is the thing. Here, listen to this list. This starts, this is between December 21st and December 27th. Juwan Johnson, Adam Trautman, James Carpenter, Caden Ellis, Jeff Heath, Jalen Holmes, Christian Ringo, Jordan Mills, Malcolm Jenkins, Trevor Siemian, Taysom Hill, JT Gray, Dwayne Washington, Demario Davis, Ryan Ranchek, Carl Granderson. I feel like he plays baseball. Quan Alexander. That's Carl Grant. Yeah, there was a Granderson. He played for the Yankees. Anyway, that's a lot of damn players. We're talking about them calling up people from NBC Sports who are commentating, who were done when they were in playing shape, asking Drew Brees to come out and run the offense for a day. The times are bad. It almost is a question, will this game even commence? And do you even care if it doesn't?
That's a damn good question, man. How many fans of the Panthers and the Saints care? But I use them as an example.
We would almost thank the teams. We would be bigger fans if this game didn't happen.
Yeah, dude. Well, I don't know. We need to settle the draft pick. We need to settle the draft.
That's what the worst thing the only thing that can happen for us is there's nothing good that can happen, Cody.
No, if we win, it's a worse draft pick. The only victory is just a moral victory of being able to say that we swept the Saints. How long have we been able to say that in the season that we swept the Saints? But then, of course, under the circumstances that the Saints are under, it makes all the sense in the world.
It'd be asterisk. It would be.
And then I saw a number that said that no team has been through as many players this year as the New Orleans Saints. And yet, dude, if it wasn't for the division being so shitty, they would still be in contention. They were depending on Ian Book. So it's like, man, seeing how little turnaround the Panthers have had in comparison to some of those other teams, dude, it really shows you that we're kind of lacking that culture, that mindset of keep pounding, which a lot of people feel like Cam Newton was trying to say that in his most recent press conference. He brought up some Panther players of old and talked about they knew what keep pounding meant. So, yeah, man, there's a lot of emotions right now. There always is. At the end of the season, dude, Panther fans were all up in our emotions at the bottom of a bottle, man. It's rough, Tony.
Right now, since Tecklenburg was the last true center, according to Darren Gant, it complicates things. Quote, Matt Paradis was already lost for the year to a knee injury. Pat Elflein went on COVID-19 list last week, and allowing Tecklenburg to make his first career start. Unless Elflein is activated from the list later this week, and that remains a possibility, the Panthers will have to adjust again. And this would be, he says, their 12th unique combination of offensive linemen this season. Practice squad lineman Mike Horton, here's a who, can play center and was elevated to the game day roster last week. So Mike Horton, the savior in the middle, hopefully. I felt like, let's go back. Let's see. Anything else you want to say about the COVID stuff or the game coming up and what that does? Is I kind of ask you, how about this? Do you think the Panthers can win and will win? I picked the Panthers today in a pick 'em, like just straight up, no spread, no nothing. But like the Saints are devastated. They have been devastated even more by injury and anything than us. They haven't been very good. Their defense has not allowed a touchdown in like 2 games. So but they also haven't scored any touchdowns on offense.
Yeah. So real quick, shout out to our man John, 1 Carolina, for the $4.99 love bomb. He says, just showing y'all boys some love, #. Keep pounding, # rest in peace, John Madden. John, we love you, brother. Appreciate the love, man. Thank you so much. And yeah, I mean, Tony, listen, I'll put it to you this way. If Taysom Hill or maybe even what's the guy that just brought in, Blake Bortles, if that guy has an opportunity to go and either of those two have an opportunity to play and on top of their defense, yeah, I've seen nothing from this Panthers offense that lets me think that, I can reasonably count on them to be able to win a football game. Now, maybe they finally do this as some kind of vindication towards Matt Rhule's culture that he's been talking about over and over. See, we told you guys we can do it. We beat the New Orleans Saints when they're out all of their players. And listen,
well, it is on the road.
It would be a Panther victory. It would be very in line with what the Panthers do to pull this off. So I don't know. I'm still, based on their defense alone, Cam Jordan, they still have that defensive backfield. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's tough to pick the Panthers in just about any scenario.
Yeah, this is an ugly game, and the sad thing is it got flexed to like national TV.
I know why. For what?
It's they probably didn't have anything else. I don't know, dude. Like, there's so much stuff going on in the NFL right now. It's hard to find like those juicy storylines. And I mean, the good news is that the Saints was the only real complete victory we had, and they didn't even have any of their offensive like coaches in that game. I thought it was this would be the game that we win. But if we lose with everything going on, like, I don't know how you keep Matt Rhule after that. Like, if we have all of our starters for the most part, outside of some offensive linemen, right? Everybody else is still on this team and healthy out again, outside of JC Horn. Not nearly as decimated as New Orleans is. If we come out and lose this game, how do you possibly tell Matt Rhule that, you know what, we're giving you another, like, I don't get it. Like, we're going up against a team that has like literally just looked god awful on Monday night. Like, they looked horrible. It'd be fine. We want them to lose because we want the higher draft pick. We want the better value in the draft. But like, at the same time, if you lose,
I know,
like,
it's
what's
crazy.
the savior?
It's crazy to think that we're bad enough to lose.
But
so against a team that has been just devastated.
Devastated. And how about this? If you measured EPA estimated points, they did this chart. The Panthers were literally at the bottom. So we are one of the very worst teams in football. And I think, shout out to Salika Ely in the chat. She says what we all know. We cannot win with a 2-quarterback system. And the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter if you're on Team Cam or Team Sam. Neither of them are in a position to be successful with the offensive line as mismanaged as it is. So, yeah, with that kind of setup, I don't know how you pick that over a Saints defense that's still, playing like one of the better defenses, at least in the NFL, in spite of their record.
It would be just like something we would do is win a game like this on the road, not in front of the fans, not in any meaningful way.
Right.
And for the culture. I don't know. At the end, when it comes to this, is that I just would say it's funny that the NFL decided to extend the NFL season this year when they can barely fill out the rosters because of COVID. Like, if there's a year not to extend it, you should have almost made the 17th game like a reschedule game, not a reschedule week, it feels like. I personally think it's the worst idea to go to 17 games if I have to watch a Carolina Panthers team like this for an extra game. It would have been such a mercy killing to just let us end with 16 this year, but we got to watch one more. The number is 252-228-5098. Why don't we jump into some cat calls and see what these cats got to say? And then we'll go and finish up our last topics about Rhule, his 1,000% process. Anything else we need to talk about? Call into the show, 252-228-5098. Let's see what you got to say.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
What's going on, boys? It's Coach from Wilmington.
What's up, Coach?
I don't know what the fuck we just saw. This is like a day after the game. Oh, God. I mean, Sam Darnold getting booed and then going out there and, like, throwing a 63-yard pass. But, I mean, like, it was blown coverage. I mean, cool, you got lucky and then you got sacked like 4 or 5 times. And then the chant of the firing of Matt Rhule chant that was going. I mean, like, the disappointment is there. Like, everybody is shouting and chanting it, and we've done it for the past. After we started on that downhill slope, after going 3-0, but to go out into your press conference and say it took Jay-Z 7 years. Oh, fucker, you ain't no Jay-Z. Come on now. I mean, I understand like
a lot of things I want to talk about from this call.
God, like you've blown your shot. I mean, he'll get 3 years because David Tepper won't bite the bullet and realize he made a mistake. But Cam Newton should have ended that game for us. that was just Matt Rhule not having any class or respect toward Cam Newton. Showed that he was pretty spineless. Cam Newton's potentially last game in Bank of America Stadium didn't even finish him. Give him that last drive. I don't know. He definitely doesn't have the fans or the players on his side, Matt Rhule. And I doubt he has any of the rest of the coaching staff, but, that's something that's unspoke of. They're not going to say anything. They're going to think it but not say it, but it is what it is. Went out there and got shat on. Put Rob Gronkowski in, and he shit the bed. 1 reception for 23 yards. Sucks me in the playoffs for fantasy because I benched Justin Jackson, who got 36 points. So, yeah, shitty weekend. I just want you guys to do one thing. Please play Shaq Thompson's press conference.
Oh.
All right, boys. Keep pounding.
All right, we'll have to look for that. All right, so let's talk about the Matt Rhule boo chant. Since this is the 2020 boo show, well, happy 2020 boo. Robby Anderson didn't say nothing about that. He didn't say them booing or saying you should be talking about firing people's jobs or saving people's jobs. It's one thing, man. The Panthers fans are mad if they are chanting fire the coach in their home stadium, and there's only like 8 people left at that game by that point. Other things on that call. Oh, the offensive line. How about this? Is he mentioned how many times Sam Darnold got sacked? Cam Newton got sacked. What did we give up? 7, 8, 9 sacks around there? It was ridiculous.
It was 8.
It was a lot. Interestingly, all I've seen is a lot of people talking nicely about our left tackle play from Brady Christensen this week. So explain to me where all these. All right, so I saw a stat today, Cody, that said that Brady Christensen did allow 3 QB hurries or hits, QB hits maybe, but 0 sacks. Where did the 8 sacks come from? If they didn't come from the short left arm man.
Yeah, it's always from our interior. And, frankly, running backs not picking up blocks. Yeah, 7 total sacks. Again, a lot of miscommunication. Not only are the players just physically, and skillfully not qualified to do the jobs that they're doing, it feels like, but on top of that, just a lot of missed assignments, like not picking up incoming blitzers, just routine things where the offense just looks completely out of sorts. So again, to me, this just points back at coaching.
Yeah.
But by the way, who is this a surprise to that Brady Christensen is able to come out and play well? You all know, if you've been watching this podcast for any length of time, that I predicted it, that Brady Christensen would end up being, would hold his own at that left tackle position. Tony and I did a debate my take about it. I believe I came out on top. I think we've seen a good amount from Brady Christensen to say that he at least deserves a shot to prove that he is indeed a left tackle going
he
forward.
Deserves a full
Short
season.
arms be damned. Yeah,
he deserves a full season.
Yes, he should have had one this year, and we wouldn't have been asking so much. And maybe we could be looking at maybe a center or a guard sometime in the draft. But I don't know, man. Still a lot in flux going forward. But shout out to Brady Christensen, man. I'm really excited about the type of player that he has the potential to be for us.
The other thing I wanted to talk about was the Jay-Z thing. The Jay-Z comment made by Matt Rhule in his press conference. I saw Crystal Hurt. She's at Princess Sugar 59. She said Panthers got 99 problems and this bozo is the biggest one. She said about put a picture up of Matt Rhule beside Jay-Z. The other thing I wanted to show this is hopefully, let me see if I can share my screen here, is I saw this and I about died. And this is going back to when Rhule was a coach for said it set. Can you see this tweet?
Yep.
Rhule separated himself at Temple and his relentless energy and creativity. This is from some story that John Ellis posted, who, by the way, has become a champion of hating this administration of coach. Like, I thought that he was one of those guys that tried to play it so down the fairway. He's so pissed right now. Anyway, to fire up defensive linemen back in 2006, he'd splash coffee on his face at the end of a meeting. All the time, I would drink coffee in a unit meeting and then throw the rest of it on my face and say, let's go at the end. So Matt Rhule.
You're telling me that doesn't work in the NFL? Come on, dude.
I think Matt Rhule is also the originator of the eating Tide Pod movement. Check out this.
Maybe so.
Yeah, like
it breeds toughness.
It's like Happy Gilmore, Bobby Boucher from The Longest Yard or whatever the movie was. Funny stuff. Anything else from that call stuck out? Go to the next one too.
The Jay-Z the Jay-Z thing, right? That part to me is like, it just reminds me of your grandfather trying to be hip. Like,
yes.
I tell all the guys all the time, like, Jay-Z, like, you got to know that all these guys are sitting there saying, like, who the fuck is this? Is this?
It's like,
is this?
Yeah.
Is this Matt Rhule?
Yeah, Ja Rule. Some people call him. My friend's been calling that for a long time. But the other thing is, it's like, the Rome isn't built in a day. Saying is really falling deaf on these young kids' ears. So let's do Jay-Z, and that empire he built wasn't built in 7 years.
These players don't want to hear that anyway. Yeah, these players don't want to hear that Rome wasn't built in a day either, because all these guys are being told is how short their career is going to be because of, football. You got to make sure you're managing your finances. Well, last thing I want to do is be a part of a program that's going to take more than my contract year to be able to build up.
What is that? Rockefeller Records? Is that his joint?
And by the way, he was famous before then.
All right. So that's the other thing is that
it's not even a good comparison.
That's what I wanted to know. Is like, it didn't from what I remember. I felt like Jay-Z went to the top of the top pretty quick. Like when he dropped out, you know what I mean? Like, he was young. I felt like coming in the footsteps of Biggie and Tupac. And I feel like people called him the GOAT early. Man, not even a good reference. All right, 252-228-5098. Jay-Z. Did it really take him 7? I wonder if I hope Jay-Z does like a, what is it when they come back at you? Like a response rap, like a battle rap.
Yeah.
I hope he battle raps Matt.
A diss track.
Yeah. He's got to come and diss track Matt Rhule and say, dude, I was here from day one. You just want around. Yeah, anyway.
By the way,
on C3 Nation, your boy Jay Anderson hitting y'all up. No, another thing that the Panther fans need to, Panther fans just need to give up 2022 because Matt Rhule is comfortable where he at. And David Tepper is comfortable with having Matt Rhule as the coach. Not only that, Matt Rhule has gotten the national media to be comfortable with him. See, they blaming everything on just the quarterback and stuff like that. I ain't got no love for Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold is trash no matter if we had a good line and stuff like that. But Matt Rhule, he has the media on lock. He knows he has the media on lock. He knows he has David Tepper on lock. So in order for the Panther fans, they just need to let this year go. Let 2022 go. Don't show up at these games. Don't show up at training camp. You want to hear your voice heard? Just don't show up and live a stress-free football life. Watch college football. Watch all the other pro games. do not pay attention to the Carolina Panthers. That's how you live stress-free, man. Because this franchise is a joke. And it's turned into a massive joke like no other. I mean, we went from at least, a top 15 franchise to a below 30 franchise. Everybody is calling the Carolina Panthers a shit show or a clown show.
Was that it?
We can't hear you, Tony.
Yeah,
Oh,
I muted myself while the call was going on. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough watching people that I know that follow the team. Probably, I would say clearly more passionately than I do. People that are hitting me up with the news all the time. I think of Nova Black. Nova Black said that he didn't watch his first Panther game ever. I was like, he missed his first one. It's like the opposite of losing your virginity. It's like the uncool way. Tough. I saw you starred something about the offensive line. Who gave up them sacks?
Yeah, this is from Panther
Brother.
Pickle. He said, according to PFF, Michael Jordan allowed 4 hurries, 2 sacks, and John Miller 3 hurries, 1 sack. Tecklenburg 2 hurries. So as we've been on this since before the start of the season that the interior of our offensive line was gonna be bad. We have said this. You didn't have to be a fortune teller to foresee this happening. The offensive interior is bad. It's been very bad. And again, we say Brady Christensen's name a ton, but the fact that we've been, what are we, 15 games into the season now, and Deontay Brown has taken 1 snap. It's just abysmal, man. It's,
I mean, even
didn't
beyond
have to be this bad.
Even the fact that Brady Christensen only had 2 games as the start. Like when you have Cam Irving was hurt for a good portion of the year. And when you have Christensen sitting back there and he plays 1 game and he doesn't do bad, right? He actually grades out higher than everybody else on the team or on that line. And then you look at the fact that they don't play him again, and then they play him again, and guess what? He does all right. He's not a world beater, but he is doing much better than I feel like what the other people on the line are doing, right? I was still critical of his play, but it's still clear that he is better than the people that he's playing beside.
Sure.
And the fact that that's happened, it just speaks tremendously to the ineptitude of this coaching staff. And a lot of this. So you look at that. There was only, out of the 7 sacks, 3 of them were allowed by our offensive line, right? 4 of them were allowed because of free runners from the edge or something from a blitzer, or something along those lines, where either Chuba wasn't picking up a blitz or people were just not recognizing what they're supposed to do. And that, like Cody said, I think that comes back to coaching. And that I think is 100% true. I think right now our biggest problem is our coaches are not getting these guys prepared on a week-to-week basis, even though these guys are professionals, but coaching's a big part of what these guys are missing right now, I feel like.
When Robby Anderson was talking about the fake fans, I think the thing that gets on me is like, if booing makes you a fake fan, then does that mean we can't criticize players' decisions? No. Right? Do we have to like everybody? Because right now, I don't want to cheer for Chuba Hubbard. I ain't signing up to buy his jersey anytime soon. And I feel bad about that. I feel bad that I'm saying I don't think Chuba Hubbard's all that good.
Tony,
but
let me ask you this.
I feel that way.
Let me ask you this. Who is more real? Tony, I love everything about you. And then when you're not here, Cody, Tony's a piece of shit. Like, would it be better if I'm real to you to your face?
Yeah.
Or is it better than that I'm sitting here as like, oh, you're such a great person. Let me talk some shit about you afterwards, though. Like, I feel like those people booing are probably the realest fans in this entire fucking stadium. Because here's the thing. Like, if you're just constantly an optimistic fan about this regime, you're not a real fan. You haven't put any any emotion.
You're like
or
not
any,
paying attention.
Well, you haven't put any feeling into this team. If you're not upset about what the fuck is happening right now, and that boo is a way to be able to kind of get your feelings out, if you're not, then you're not the real fan. Like, if you're not putting your emotions out there on the field, if you're not letting the team know and be heard how you're feeling, you're not a real fan. So I think Robby Anderson's already got that shit wrong.
I guess it's a lot easier to say that when you make $14 million a year or whatever.
Yeah.
And go into a basketball game where it's not like not a tenth, but like 1% of your yearly salary to get there. That's what it would take for a lot of us to go spend the weekend. It's like 1% for our whole salary.
And by the way, I do think you're a little too hard on Chuba. I think Chuba is another person who, if we had a better offensive line, he would be one of the better rookie running backs that you'd be talking about. Like,
CK, tell him.
I'm tired of other people's misgivings or bad performance to be predicated on somebody else's success. It is unfair, and I agree. But at this point in time, if they haven't shown that they're capable of doing something beyond what they've done so far, then they're not a good player until they show us otherwise.
But has he really shown?
Very well may be true, Cody. You
like I'm saying, he's not
may
bad.
Be right,
he's just
but
on
we're
a bad
sick
team.
of hearing the fucking offensive line excuse, and it might be right. But actually, I'm not even gonna say I would say he's had other than just like he's gotten positive yards on some runs, but every time he goes to the ground, I'm worried there's a fumble. I swear there is a moment where I go, did he fumble? Did he fumble? Did he fumble? I bet you he fumbled. Right? I'm expecting him to fumble. Mm-hmm. I'm expecting him to drop the ball. I'm expecting disaster to happen secretly. It's like I don't want to admit it to myself. I'm being real right here with it. Is I've seen other guys play a lot better in their rookie year for the Panthers. They didn't get no time. Cameron's pain.
Chuba's not a bad player. He's a young player on a bad football team. And he had some good runs, man. Listen, also being forced into filling in for Christian McCaffrey when this was a Christian McCaffrey offense. Like, he stepped up in a big way, and he might not have been everything that you hoped that he would be, but he's going to be a part of this team going forward. And I think, a decent part of our run game.
Oh, I'm so excited. So excited. I just can't hide it. Next call.
Panther Brothers, how y'all doing, man? It's G. Cavassier. Hey, I'm going to keep it short and simple. Rest in peace to John Madden. I just found out like 10 minutes ago that he passed away, man. Damn, shit breaks my damn heart. I'm playing Madden right now, man. Of course, I'm playing with the Panthers. I'm going against the Green Bay Packers. You know what I'm saying? But damn, man. God bless his soul, man. That was a hell of a coach and a hell of a broadcaster, man. Won't miss that dude. Keep pounding.
Yeah, tough day for the football world. Thanks for the call, G. Cavassier. Let's keep going through. The number's 252-228-5098.
Hey, gentlemen. Hope you all are doing well. This is Daniel again. Well,
what's up, Daniel?
First of all, rest in peace to John Madden. But, this whole situation about, man, I swear, like, it's so mixed up that I don't even know what to think anymore. It's like crazy. But this whole situation about the fans booing and everything. I mean, I get both perspectives, but it's what do you expect? When fans spend hundreds of dollars to go, and watch these players, play, and they play like trash. Like, half the time, it looks like they're not even trying sometimes. Like they just don't care at times, like Robby Anderson with all his drops. But what can you possibly expect? But then also, fans are also hypocritical when they boo for Sam Darnold in this case, and then cheer when he goes and makes a heck of a play like he did that, what was the first drive? But I mean, it's just our whole culture is jacked up as an organization, as a fan base. Everything is just so messed up, and then on top of that, we're over here talking about rebuilding. Matt Rhule talking about rebuilding, but yeah, we traded second rounder for a quarterback and went looking for Watson at the beginning of the season when we were doing well. He came out and said, "Well, now why not win now? We want to win now." But because now you are straight trash, now it's a rebuild, and talk about Tepper wanting young players, and young players are going to make mistakes. It's always contradictory with this man, and it's just so crazy, And then he comes out here and compares things to Jay-Z. Man, like this is like clownish. This is bad. I mean, I feel bad. I mean, I feel bad. It's like I feel bad as a Panthers fan. I feel embarrassed. Sometimes with my friends, start making fun of it. It's what can you say? Knowing they're absolutely right. Knowing that I kind of feel the same way. I mean, this is just crazy, guys. Panther Nation, gotta keep pounding through it all, but
Yes, I feel you. I feel the
Bro,
end.
love
What
the
do you
call,
think
man.
about this is so Robby Anderson, who's kind of sparked the conversation about what fans should be doing, how a real fan, fake fan, this and that. But when he was called out by people of the media for his celebration on a meaningless, this is what Don Cleveland at NFL_ Don Cleveland tweeted. He said Robby Anderson spun the ball in front of the Bucs bench and pointed up to celebrate a meaningless catch on first down while being down 32-6 with no time left in the game. Parentheses, he also celebrated a short catch the play earlier, and yes, the score was still 32-6. Robby Anderson responded, said, "That's people like you problem, always trying to find negative in situations. I'm going to count my blessings and live my dream and enjoy it to the fullest. The best I know, this dream don't last forever." It's just, it kind of is a little tone deaf. Not a little tone deaf. It is tone deaf. It's tone deaf to the moment. And maybe, Robby Anderson's just kind of having to learn the world. Like, am I going to hold this together? But what do you guys think about him bouncing back at the same time he's talking about the fans? One side of his mouth, he's saying this out the other.
I mean, I don't know, dude. That's why it's kind of like what you said earlier, Tony. Like, we haven't had a lot of time with Robby Anderson. Like, if this is coming from a Greg Olson, in his final years, dude, we're having an entirely different conversation. It's Robby fucking Anderson who confused Sir Purr with a bear. Who's that bear? Hey, Robby, maybe the mascot for the Carolina Panthers is a panther, dude. What a fucking concept, right? It's like, again, dude, like, I like that he's defending a teammate, and I liked when he defended Cam Newton. And I gave him a lot of props when he defended Cam Newton in a way that most people are afraid to. Certainly if they're connected to the Panthers. So, again, I respect the real. I like that he's able to, share
He's
his
got
honest opinion.
459 yards this season.
And hey, let
Or
him
something
celebrate,
like
man.
that.
This might be the last time he'll be able to celebrate until
In front
sometime
of
next
that
year,
bear?
man. Yeah.
What if he
right?
doesn't ever get to celebrate in front of that bear again?
Oh, dude, poor guy, right?
2 road games and a trade later.
Oh, dude.
All
So
right,
yeah, it was a bad answer, and it was tone deaf. And again, especially now after what we thought the Panthers were going to be this season, just for us to look like we do out there on the field. Yeah, it was just the wrong time. Wrong time.
Looking at these Bucks players in the picture is awesome. Antonio Brown is over there on the bike. Let me see if I can pull this up. Here, I'm gonna go to the next call. I'm gonna pull this picture up. 252-228-5098.
Hey guys, it's Joey. You know what I want to say? Fuck Robby Anderson. The guy cannot catch a pass. We paid him a bunch of money, and he hasn't done shit. He can't catch, like,
stop with your
every
fake
time
ass
we throw him,
fan.
Like, he's never catching the ball.
Joe, you only call in every week to a podcast.
And
you
yeah, I
fake
get it.
fan.
I mean, he does stick up for his team. That's his teammates. It's a good quality to have. I'm not complaining about that. But to get up here and call us fake fans, you were done doing that press conference in your apartment, dude. And you're lucky that our fans aren't, like, as hardcore as some other fans, because they would have found you and they would have beaten your ass.
God, Joey the Blind Panther gonna
for
come.
Robby to say that pisses me off because, like, and yes, I criticize some of the aspects of our fan base because we don't boo when we're pissed. We don't, like, say. All we do is leave. Leaving doesn't do shit. They already got money for at least one beer. If you're an alcoholic, they got money for 2 or 3. They got money for your food. They got money for your tickets. So leaving doesn't do anything. You know? Like, the only way empty seats translate to money is if no one buys them, but people are buying them and then leaving. That's my criticism. So, like, for fans to actually be making their displeasure known and Robby to criticize it, and Robby's no one to do it. I would have less of a problem with Shaq Thompson doing it. I would have less of a problem with someone with CMC doing it or DJ Moore, but Robby needs to shut his damn mouth. Anyway, guys. Wow.
Look at this picture of Robby Anderson. This is the tweet from the Don Cleveland guy or whatever. But I love Antonio Brown back here on the bike. You know, like he's just grinning. He's like, I'm back in the NFL. I got my 3-game suspension gonna get.
I didn't even notice that until you mentioned it, dude.
Another Super Bowl ring. I'm trying to figure out who is. Someone look up who number 17 is. Cameron. Is that Cameron Brate? No, it's a wide receiver number. It's not Mike Evans. He was out. But Richard Sherman's over here. He's always upset about something, and he barely looks like he's just like, all right, whatever, as you celebrating here. And then I love this guy immediately to right in front of Robby Anderson, who is not paying attention at all. At all.
Yeah, he doesn't care. And let him have his little stupid celebration dance. It's
they said Scotty Miller in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Like all these people over here, like, look at this score. And I love Antonio Brown in the back. I just love it, man. It's like so awesome. I'm cheering for him. Cheering for the man in the hot air balloon always and forever. Let's go to the next call.
Hey, gentlemen, Daniel again. I just wanted to tell you guys to continue the good job that you guys do, you know, and
thanks a lot, man.
We, as fans, appreciate what you guys do, and, you know, just keep it up. You know, I myself, you know, respect the fact that you guys are on here every Tuesday and Friday, you know, and then after every embarrassing Sunday games that we've gone through, and you guys deal through the embarrassment and do what you do. So we appreciate it, gentlemen. We enjoy the content. And you guys have a good night.
Man, thank you very much.
Appreciate
and
it, man.
We appreciate your support, particularly the people that have called in like yourself, as well as the people in the chat room, the people that hold it down on the psychiatrist couch with us each and every week. And we can support and lock arms together as we walk through this mile of shit, like Andy Dufresne escaping Shawshank Redemption or whatever, Shawshank Prison. We're doing it together, guys. And you can help support us, strengthen that bond by subbing up to the podcast, smashing the thumbs up button, and booing our podcast. Call in and boo.
Yeah,
I'd be okay with that. All fake fans. Sub up and boo the podcast. Boo me when you see me. 2020 boo. Yuck. All right, let's go to the next call.
Lord, Robby Anderson, he was something else. Anyway, I was calling because I just wanted to say that or ask a question. I felt like Cam's press conference was very telling, but not telling, if y'all can read in between the lines, because he went down the list of all the, of all the players that understood what the whole Sam Mills mantra was about to keep pounding. And then he goes on to say, basically they understood what it meant, as to indirectly say that some of these players are soft and they ain't got that life. You know what I'm saying? They don't know how to play together. They don't know what it means to come together as a team. And I think that's why he was giving off, or it sounded like he was giving off the retirement guys, because I feel like after he came back and he saw that, he was just like, man, it's time for me to go. They don't get it no more. And so I'm wondering, could that have been the whole narrative of what's really been going on? Like, they don't, because look at it, they have no continuity on the field. They don't have if they're not, even if they're playing well, they don't look excited. They just look like we just there because we're getting a check. And so my question is could it be that is the issue with the culture in Carolina, that they don't play because they really love the game and that they really love the way or they want this team to win? Do they just come to work to get a check like people do in everyday life?
Fantastic call, Shalika. Listen, man, Cam, his press conference has been the talk of a lot of speculation here. And Tony, I know you hadn't gotten an opportunity to hear it, so we'll short little 2-minute video, and we'll listen
to what he had to say.
We'll listen to what Cam Newton had to say, and then you all tell me what y'all think. Sorry if it's too low. That's all I can do.
And it goes without saying, the humanistic side of this football, game. Football's been good to me. I was able to.
Can you hear it?
Walk away.
I can hear it.
But I don't want to sound like I'm retiring, but it's had some great memories. And as you think about, as you move forward, it takes more than one guy. It takes more than one talent. It takes more than a couple guys. It takes unanimously everybody understanding what their role is and what you have to do. And when I look at my situation, was it ideal? And I'm talking big picture. I'm talking over the years, not today. I'm just talking. Was it ideal? No. But I think the thing that I can pride myself on is being able to say I never blinked, I never bitched, I never complained, I never pointed the finger, I never wanted it any easier than what it is. We play this game as alpha males, as lions going against each other. One lion taking over another safari or whatever, and you'll be damned, so to speak. So it takes guys to really understand, their role and their responsibility and being able to execute it every play. So, on the sideline, I had a moment where you look back over the years and guys who taught you, Steve Smith, Jordan Gross, Ryan Khalil, Michael Orrs, Thomas Davis, Luke Kuechly.
So he basically went on to name some more Panthers and just talk about how they had the idea and the mantra of keep pounding. They knew what it meant, and it was important to them, and they embodied keep pounding in the way that they played and the way that they practiced and presented themselves. And it's, a lot of people are kind of taking this to mean that keep pounding mantra and mindset almost doesn't mean as much to these current group of players. And maybe that's people looking too far into it, but a lot of people also looked at this press conference from Cam Newton and took it to mean that this is him, as Shalika mentioned in our cat call, that this is Cam Newton kind of reconciling the fact that he might not have too much longer to play football. And before the game, media kept on asking Cam Newton, basically all the sentimental questions where you feel about this potentially being your last performance in Bank of America Stadium. And Cam Newton was very dismissive. He's like, listen, if it's not thinking about winning the next football game, I'm not really thinking about it. And then to hear his answer post game, man, it really does let you know that, man, I really think it does weigh on him that he came back for this, that the Panthers are this bad. And everything that you and I have been saying, Tony, about, whatever legacy he might have had, it sucks all the more that Cam Newton has come back just for it to end this way and almost give all the haters all of the fire and ammunition that he was, kind of the haters were kind of looking for on Cam. So you hear it in his voice, man. He just sounds kind of defeated. And I feel for him, man. I feel for him. Like I said, this player, Cam Newton, that's the reason I love the Carolina Panthers. And to see him go out this way, man, this is tough.
I'm going to tell you this, like the reason I love that press conference is Cam Newton sounded so mature in what he was saying. Even
I was thinking the same thing.
Like he sounded like a guy like that's wise. You know what I mean? And and that's not to say he hasn't before, but Cam Newton just almost feel like it. When I hear that, do I hear defeat? Yes, but I also hear someone who's maybe accepted that things are the way they are, and that is just that. He's not out here pointing fingers. He's not out here saying it's somebody else's fault. He's taking ownership every step of the way. And listen, I love that press conference, and it did feel, and I hate to say it, it did feel a lot like a retirement speech. You know what I mean?
I don't even, it's like he said, I don't want this to be overly applied to retirement, because he's gonna what these guys, when they start getting into the latter parts of their career, have to start making decisions about what's best for them financially. They're, what they can deal with, the rehab they can deal with, the weekend, the grind, the change of scenery. There's going to be so much. If Cam is probably going to be just coming to terms with, does he even want to go through it again? Right. So, there's one thing is, can he do it? Blah, blah, blah. So he's probably not overly like, I'm retiring, I'm not retiring. I do think he's like coming to terms with his own mortality in a certain sense, or the mortality of his career, right? And that is that it's not something that can last forever. Like the special, and this is where I actually don't think he's talking about this current team all that much. I think he's truly reflecting upon himself and what it takes to find success in the NFL, and how special it is when you do find it. Because not only do you have to be playing great if you're Cam Newton, so many moving parts around you have to work and work out right. And so, if you think about these teams, that's why it's so we underestimate how special it is to kind of win a Super Bowl. Right. And even when the best of circumstances happen, it can still not happen. And then there's more times than not, injury's going to take part. So look, if you think about who Cam Newton was when he came into the league, he is arguably a guy that we're thinking could change football forever. Right. Yeah. And imagine if for some way he could found to have like a 20-year career or a 15-year career where it wasn't marred by some of these challenges. He could go down as one of the greatest in history, if he doesn't already go down in that way, because he's got so many records. So I think he's understanding too, is that not only do I have to be great, all the circumstances it is a special moment that you need to enjoy and appreciate when it's there. And you got to understand that everything can't be special. I don't think he's really talking about the players that are surrounding him at that moment as like, but I do think, Cody, is that, or CK, where I agree so much, is this kind of maturity. It really feels like he's come to terms a little bit with it. He sounds cooler talking about it than I sound.
He sounds resolute. Yeah, he sounds resolute. Yeah. Like he knows, like he.
Like he's not scared of the conversation as much anymore.
He's not scared of it, and I feel like even that he has confidence in knowing what he's doing after this. Like it feels like he has a direction. Like he doesn't feel like he's without direction right now.
I think the other thing that's so great about this, if you listen to this 2 minutes of Cam talk or a minute and 50 seconds, and you listen to the minute 50 seconds he said the last press conference and the one and the 100 before this, is they so easily contradict those stupid narratives that exist about Cam being me. Like, I'm just saying this is like everything about what Cam, they said Cam was going to be when he came into the league and what people believed about him regardless. He has, I mean, you can't listen to this and say he's a me guy.
No, I have this conversation constantly because people know I'm a Panthers fan. They say, Cam Newton doesn't have it anymore. It's about, he kind of deserves it. He's such a selfish player, all this stuff. And I cannot stand that narrative because I say, if you would give yourself even 10 minutes to sit down and study who Cam Newton is, not just as a player, but as a person, you wouldn't say a single negative thing about the type of person that he is. He puts everything he possibly can into. He's brought so much joy to the Carolinas, to the Charlotte area, to kids, to people that were in need. And I know a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of players do these things. It felt like that was probably one of the best. Like, I don't know that I've seen a player do as much as Cam Newton has done for the Carolinas. Like, in his charity and in just anything really, in his sports even. And even on the field, I mean, even in his press conference, he's praising people, he's lifting people up, he's giving people nicknames, right? He's out there trying to create a relationship with this team. And if you put that together, if you gave yourself 10 minutes to watch what Cam Newton really is and just research him, you wouldn't be able to say any of the stupid shit that people say about him. He is not a selfish player. He is actually probably one of the most selfless players that you're going to find. He puts himself on the line. He puts himself in the press conference. He blames himself for everything. He blames himself for the fumble, even though Chuba could have probably helped him with that. He blames himself for the interceptions, even though an offensive line hit his elbow when he was throwing the ball. He blames himself, and he doesn't put that ownership back on anybody other than himself. And I think that shows tremendously more about Cam Newton than what people assume he is because if he does a Superman celebration.
And also, he's a super competitor, too. So all those times when you would see Cam Newton after a loss on the sideline and he would put the towel over his head and people would just talk shit about him. Like, listen, man, most of these people don't know what it's like to practice week in and week out, trying to do everything to will your team to a victory. And then it doesn't happen for a bunch of different reasons, man. People handle it differently. But what's that saying go? Show me a good loser and I'll show you a loser. And I mean, that's always been the point of it, man. And also, we're not going to pass over the fact that guys like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger have done way more to at times show themselves to be sore losers than Cam ever has. And if Cam Newton did some of the things that they did, he would have been drug over hot coals for that bullshit.
Tell me when Cam Newton's walked to an opposing sideline and said, fuck you, like Tom Brady did.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Never.
No kidding.
Tell me when he's done that. And that's one of the things that I hate about this. And I'm not trying to make this about race, but it's almost like this part of you have to have a conversation. And I hate that this is a conversation that people like Cam Newton or Lamar Jackson or anybody has to have. Is you're going to be judged more harshly than other races in this same position, right? And so what you have to do is you have to live to a higher standard, because if you go to the same level of somebody else, you're going to be raked over the coals, whereas somebody else is going to be seen as just a he's just a competitive football player, right? And that the fact that people like Cam, people like I said, Lamar Jackson, people like gosh, I mean, pretty much anybody. I mean, even Tua, you got to probably put that same ownership on him. These guys have to go about the way that they perform, the way that they celebrate, and have to be so aware of what other people's appearance of them might be, that it's so irritating. And it's just like, it sucks because it's the world we live in, but it's so unfair.
You saw Harry Reid died, former senator. All right, let's see. Tell me if we heard this call already.
Lord, Robby Anderson, he was something else. Anyway, I was calling because I just wanted to say that or ask.
All right, so here, next call.
Hey guys, it's Joey again. I want to say something kind of interesting, kind of speaks to something we all say. So, you know how we started 3-0 this season, and look where we are now. Well, the Dolphins were 1-2, and then they went 1-7, and then they won 8 straight games, and 7 straight games. Sorry, they're probably going to make the playoffs, and yet people were saying this is such a disappointing team when they were talking about the Dolphins. So they're going to make the playoffs, and they started the season 1-7, and we're going to not make the playoffs, and we started 3-0. So yeah, it shows how meaningless early season football is. You know what I mean? Maybe they should actually shorten the season to I don't know, maybe October, maybe start in October because it's so freaking hot anyway. It can't be good for you to play in that game in that weather. It is hell to sit in that weather at a game. Could you imagine actually having to play with all that pad, sweating all over the place? Dude, bro. But because of it's so meaningless, they should just shorten the season. Anyway, guys. Wow, wow, wow.
All right. Yeah. I mean, we're at that point where do you really want to watch the third stringer? Doesn't it suck when you watch these COVID ravaged teams and you see how far the drop off is between a first stringer and a third stringer? It's crazy, you know? I mean, it really shows you how top athletes these are because we're going to go out there without Shaq Thompson, Brian Burns. Imagine that. I mean, shorten the season for us. Anything actually, Rhule said that he's 1,000% confident that the process is working and that David Tepper has showed tremendous support for him. Your thoughts on Matt Rhule in these comments?
I mean, listen, David Tepper appears to be under the spell of Matt Rhule and all of the BS that he's telling the reporters about, well, we just need an off season. We need some time to build up the O-line. We need some time to fix the quarterback position. And, David Tepper is willing to give him that third year based on absolutely nothing. And but that also tells me that I don't think David Tepper is I think he's going to tell Fitterer, do your worst. If that means bringing in a quarterback like Deshaun, if he ever becomes available, if that means trading picks for, players on the offensive line, we're going to do this thing where the Panthers are going to play and build their football team like a team that's, a few pieces away from being a legitimate contender. And every year that we do that, we disservice ourselves because we're not fully committing to the proper rebuild that we've been needing to go through for a long time. So, I mean, listen, David Tepper's going to have to deal with this. He made the bed. He's going to have to lay in it. Matt Rhule is 100% on David Tepper's shoulders. And listen, I've called what I think is going to happen. I've been very open about it. David Tepper is Mr. Day Late, Dollar Short, and he is going to do everything in his power to make sure that he fires Matt Rhule when it's too late, probably sometime around the middle of the season next year.
I don't think that him saying that really tells us much about what's truly going on. I mean, Tepper shows me tremendous support until he doesn't. I mean, how many times has Matt Rhule showed tremendous support for guys and then cut them the next day? I will if Matt Rhule survives that Monday after the season ends or whatever that firing Monday is, Black Monday or whatever they do where they fire everybody, I'll be surprised, to be honest. And if he survives that day, then I think he's going to be with the Carolina Panthers in 2020. Boo. But I don't think that he's anywhere safe at this point. I think there's too many questions surrounding the quarterback and the offensive line to think that contract length alone means that he is safe, and that anything that beyond just Tepper's tremendous support throughout this season is what else is he supposed to say? And I mean, he looks frantic. The whole thing looks crazy. No, I mean, is it unfathomable to believe they could be back? But I don't think there's a lot of signs pointing that he should be back or will be back. I don't believe that. So I think these comments are just comments. They're just comments. They don't mean anything. I do want to remind you, Cody, you owe me $5 for Terrence Marshall Jr. not hitting 500 yards this season. Ha ha. God, what a crappy
I couldn't
season.
have foreseen how terrible our coach was going to do all these players.
2020 boo. See, I think that's about it. I don't really think there's anything else I want to talk about. We got more stuff to cover this week as we go forward with Debate My Take and Beat Check. And so we'll be checking all those stories and doing some more previewing throughout the week. We do need to get to our ice up picks. And I guess that's it. And then get the hell out of here. What do you guys? You guys got something nice up?
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. I mean, listen, the holiday seasons are rough on everybody, you know, especially people, you know, that are away from their families and stuff like that. But a lot of times, and I think many of you know this, the Carolina Panthers can cause terrible forms of depression. And sometimes people don't know how to speak out about their Panther depression. And that goes to even people who are very close to the team. That includes Sir Purr, because it looked as though Sir Purr on live TV made an attempt to take his own life and said, you know what? I am not down for the long haul. He's copying. Dude, it looks so dumb, man. So, by the way, shout out to Sir Purr. He did this bungee jumping thing, went all the way down. Pretty cool stunt. But, dude, it looks 100% like Sir Purr is
trying to end his life.
Yes, dude, I'm done with this shit. I can't do it anymore. And it's just so funny that, like, no one thought that it would look wrong. And when the Panthers are so bad.
Well, have you seen the Jags mascot did this a few weeks ago?
So
yeah, this is copycat. This is even copycat.
Well, one time he jumped out of a plane and like skydived into the stadium. So,
well, he did. I think I was at one of the games where he came in like on a parachute or something, but he did do something similar. It does look like Sir Purr is taking the plunge.
He's had enough.
Is he a true fan? I don't know. Or is this just a call for attention?
Yeah, by the way, Cody says copycat. I think that's funny. But but good news. Sir Purr is okay. He's
that
still
bear
upset.
Is all right.
He's still upset. It all started when Robby Anderson called him that bear.
He had an identity crisis,
and it's just been a slow build ever since. So, to Sir Purr and everyone who planned this stunt, ice up, son, ice up.
You got anything, CK?
I mean, I'm just gonna ice up Robby Anderson at this point. Just he's already being kind of eaten alive in the national narrative for his celebration in that situation, and then him coming out and basically calling the fans fake fans. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put him on the ice up list this week. So Robby Anderson, ice up, my dude.
Ice up.
I've got two quick ones. The first one is this video right here of this fan who runs on to the field I guess. I mean, it sure looks like it's at the Panthers game.
Yeah, it's at the Panthers game.
And I didn't remember seeing it on TV at the time. Let me see, where is it? but if you hear the crowd, they're louder than they've been all game. All right, right here. This moment right here.
When the dude beats his chest.
Look at this. So this guy just falls down too. Like he didn't chase him. He just fell. I gotta ice up this dude who's thumping his chest right here. Like he chased this guy down. The guy fell down, unathletically drunken, and then covered himself up. And you beat your chest. You look like a DB who is waving off a pass like you just broke it up, and it was like 27 yards over the guy's head, like you broke it up. So my first ice up goes to that. And then my second ice up goes to this movie I saw, which I recommend to everybody. Don't Look Up.
Oh my God.
I watched this with my in-law. My in-laws recommended it to me. I watched every moment with them. They watched my mother-in-law. She's like, you gotta watch. She watched it for a second time, which I think is cool. We watched this on Christmas night. I'm icing up that it was as funny as it was. And what I mean by that is there's so much satire about American society in that movie that was so on brand and on point and so true in so many ways and so sad. So sad that this is the world that we love and have created. I love every second of it. I love that movie. I recommend it. So ice up. We got to get a little bit better on not being so superficial in our outlook of the world. And we got to be those true fans that get up here on Tuesday nights for 9 years talking about the Carolina Panthers through thick and thin. We got to be those true fans who show up to the games, who don't show up to the games, who boo, who don't boo, who call in at 252-228-5098, who smash the thumbs up button and part of this wonderful community that we have built where we appreciate all the opinions, good, bad, and indifferent when it comes to the Carolina Panthers. And I appreciate my two co-hosts here tonight and wish them a happy new year and a happy 2020 boo. Cody Lashney, thanks for another year of great fandom as my right-hand man. I really appreciate you getting me through this, and I wish you a happy new year.
Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you letting me into this incredible C3 community that I've had the opportunity to be a part of, man. So many new friends and faces that I know and love, people that listen to us talk week in and week out. I'm just happy to be a part of this whole thing. Before we get out of here, shout out to Southbound for the $5 love bomb. It says Cam ain't going anywhere. He's playing for his dues and for his storyline Super Bowl. He wasn't allowed to beat Denver. He knew it was all Hail Manning. So shout out to Southbound for the $5. Maybe we bring Cam back for another year. That's definitely going to be a large point of conversation throughout the off season. But Tony, you can find all the fans can find me on Twitter at Cody Lack, CODYLAC. You can find all my written content on drafttech.com. There's a new mock draft going up tomorrow, especially when the draft is going on. Man, please hit up drafttech.com, read my work, tell me what you're thinking. I put in a lot of work. I'm already starting to look at players, draft content that's going to be coming to this channel very, very soon. You have my word on that. There will be no Friday free-for-all this Friday, but they will return Fridays after that. And, dude, I want to wish everyone a very happy new year, man. We've been, this is probably, I know this has probably been the most successful year that we've ever had as a podcast. And it's directly because of you fans that come in here and show love and tell us how much this podcast means to you and how it's more fun for you guys a lot of the times than, watching the Carolina Panthers be miserable every Sunday. So we certainly appreciate you all. I appreciate what you all say to me. And yeah, it's been fun, man. Everyone have a very safe, very happy new year.
CK, you're at the bottom box, but you're not at the bottom of my list. Happy New Year, and thank you for everything that you've done for the C3 Panthers podcast this past year. I wish you the best this coming year. Thanks for everything, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you guys keeping me in the fold here. It's been one of the highlights of my late 20s, early 30s up to this point, and it's something that I've enjoyed immensely. And this isn't goodbye. This isn't like we're quitting the podcast game or anything, guys.
We're not retiring. This ain't no
this
retirement speech.
Yeah, it's just appreciation for the guys, for the fans, for the people that give us the time of their time. Whether they're driving, they're watching real time, or whatever it may be. I appreciate everybody for giving us their attention when there are so many other things they could be doing. I mean, The Witcher just dropped. I mean, there's so many movies on Netflix you could be watching, but you come watch us goofy looking white guys.
We appreciate it, man. You're right. People's time is valuable, man. And I wish all the people listening to this podcast that participate in this podcast over the past year and the years before, a happy new year and a happy 2020 boo. Cody Lashney, take us out of here, my friend.
Until next time, Panther fans, we love you. Until the miraculous year 2022, we say, keep pounding.
Keep pounding.